Hello and welcome to Lantern Lane Stories. Tonight's story is Jonathan, the tortoise who listened. Far out in the Atlantic Ocean, where the waves roll endless and blue, sits a small island called Saint Helena. On this island grows a garden, very old and very peaceful. The garden belongs to a grand house where the governor lives. And in this garden lives someone very special. His name is Jonathan. Jonathan is not a person, he is a giant tortoise. He has lived so long that no one alive can remember a time before him. Today, Jonathan sits in the warm sun just as he has for decades and decades. The grass is soft beneath him, green and cool. A sea breeze touches the garden and it smells like salt and stone. But Jonathan cannot smell it. His nose stopped working many, many years ago. His eyes are covered with a white cloud called cataracts. They do not work either. The garden looks different to him now, but his ears are perfect. He hears the gardener trimming the bushes, snip, snip, snip. He hears birds calling, tweet, tweet, high and clear. He hears wind through the palms, whoosh, whoosh, like a gentle breath. And best of all, he hears footsteps. When Joe Hollins, the caretaker, walks across the grass, Jonathan knows exactly where he is. He knows what is coming next, food. There was a time long, long ago when Jonathan first came to this island. It was the year 1882. Jonathan was already a grown tortoise then, about 50 years old. He had lived his whole life in the Seychelles, in the Indian Ocean, far across the world. Then one day, people put him on a great ship. For weeks and weeks, he felt the rocking motion beneath him. He heard the sailors' voices loud and strange. He felt the spray of salt water on his ancient shell. When the ship finally stopped, Jonathan felt solid ground beneath him again. New ground. The air was different, cooler, lonelier, but clean. The stone beneath him was not the same stone he had known. Everything was new, everything was strange. But Jonathan was patient. He had always been patient. He would learn this island slowly, slowly. Years and years passed. Jonathan lived in the gardens of the governor's house, eating and resting and growing even older. But no one had given him a proper name. He was simply the old tortoise. Then in the 1935, a new governor came to Saint Helena. His name was Sir Spencer Davis. One morning, Sir Spencer walked through the garden. He saw an old tortoise moving slowly through the grass. The tortoise stopped. He turned his head, listening. There was such dignity in the way he moved, such quiet strength. Sir Spencer watched for a long time. "This fellow," he said softly, "deserves a proper name. We shall call him Jonathan." From that day on, Jonathan was no longer just any tortoise. He was Jonathan. He had a name. He had an identity. People began to visit him on purpose. Children would come with their parents and whisper his name. "Jonathan! Jonathan, can you hear us?" And Jonathan would turn his head toward their voices. In his own way, he knew he was loved. By the time Jonathan was very, very old, he was not alone. In the year 1991, another tortoise came to live in the garden. His name was Frederick. Frederick was much younger than Jonathan, but he stayed close to the old friend. Every morning, Jonathan would hear Frederick's shell bumping gently against the stone path. Every afternoon, they rested together in the shade of the same tree. They did not need to talk. They did not need to see each other. They simply needed to be near. When Joe came with the food, he brought it for both of them. Orange carrots, sweet and crisp. Green lettuce, cool and soft. Red apples, round and smooth. Jonathan could not see the colors, but his ears told him when Joe was near. His mouth knew the taste of each food. His tongue remembered again and again the same flavors he had loved for 100 years. Crunch, crunch, crunch. The carrots sounded the same as always. And beside him, Frederick ate too. Two old friends eating together in the shade. Jonathan had been alive so long that people called him a miracle. He was the oldest land animal on the entire earth. No one had ever lived as long as Jonathan. In the year 2022, the governor of Saint Helena decided to celebrate. It was time for Jonathan's 190th birthday. People came from all over the island. Children brought gifts, not toys, but things Jonathan loved. More carrots, more lettuce, more apples. Some visitors brought paper and drew pictures of Jonathan. Others took photographs of his ancient footprint, a mark he had left in the ground long, long ago, and on the 5-pence coins of Saint Helena you could see his silhouette. There was Jonathan's head, his ancient shell, his patient shape, all forever captured in silver. He did not know about the birthday. He did not know about the celebration, but Jonathan had something better than knowing. He had lived through 2 great world wars. He had lived while humans walked on the moon. He had lived through the reigns of many, many governors, more than 30 of them. He had lived 193 years, longer than anyone alive could imagine, and through it all, he had done the same patient things. He had listened, he had eaten his vegetables. He had walked his slow, steady walk. He had let people love him, even though he could not see their faces. And so Saint Helena also slowly fell asleep. Good night.